Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. This is Tommy with Tommy's Top Picks, here to give you the weekly roundup podcast. And I'm joined by John.
How's it going?
Good. I always never have the same intro exactly the same way because I don't honestly remember how it's supposed to go at this point because I change it up every time.
So yeah, that doesn't help. It doesn't help.
When I do the comic thing, it's I have it ingrained in me. So whenever I'm with Murphy, it just happens. And I have the intro down pat. But with this, we've been changing it up. And I like it. It's fun.
You've been changing it up. I've said the same thing for over a year. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. But so it's been a week. How was your week? It was a good week.
Yeah, it was good.
Did you have an excellent Outsiders draft?
I hate you. Yes, I did have an Egg-celent. Oh, that hurts.
You said it.
Yes,
I'm so proud.
I did. I know you wanted me to. They wanted me to. Everyone wanted me to.
John from years ago would be so angry at you.
John from today is so angry at John. I'm disappointed in myself.
I appreciate the effort.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Excellent effort.
Oh, shut up. Okay, moving on. Enough with the eggs.
So we had a good draft. Our main topic today is going to be revolving around Outsiders and draft. We will go on tangents like we always do. But we drafted once together, and then I was able to draft an additional time on Saturday and had a blast. So we drafted 3 times now. I've drafted 3 times.
You drafted 3 times. Twice. 2 for me. Yep.
And I believe we talked about our first draft last podcast.
Yes. So
how did your second draft go?
My second podcast went very well.
Yeah, that was 65 podcasts ago.
Yeah, my second draft went very, very well. I didn't win this time, so that's fine. But I did have a very good time playing, and it was a much better set of fights. We'll put it that way.
You got me again.
I did. I killed you again. And the one I lost after you left, afterwards, the guy reached out to me and is like, I cheated. I shouldn't have been able to do what I did.
Oh,
and we
no.
could talk about it. Yeah, so he's like, I owe you $9 because you would have come in second.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, well, I'm not so sure that's true. I appreciate the honesty, but I'm pretty sure you still would have beaten me. But yeah, it was kind of funny, though, because it was late at night and I get this message like, I just looked up a deck and it had the card that you were playing and I can't play reacts to it. I was like, it's all good. So anyways, it was fun though. It was a good time. I played Arachne again.
Yeah. The reason I left was because I went 0-2 and then third round was the bye. So it was time to go home.
Yeah.
And then I got home early on a work night, which is always nice. Having us start at 6:30 and getting home earlier has been enjoyable. But yeah, I forced Benji again. Probably shouldn't have. Did not have the same card pool as I did our first draft because there were other ninjas in the pool. But it was, so when you are the only ninja, you get all the good Benji cards. When you are not, you don't. And then that makes it very hard to pull Benji off. And I think the biggest issue was I did not have half of the Be Like Waters that I had in the first one.
Oh, yeah, that'll do it.
And that is just so crucial. Getting those blue and yellow Be Like Waters.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good. But then in my third draft, I went Arachne. And there were a bunch of other, early, there weren't, could read that there weren't that many assassins because I was getting a bunch, but I think it was people were just staying open and taking generics. And then the assassin cards started disappearing. And then I ended up with a very mediocre Arachne deck.
That's unfortunate.
I went 1-2 and I won the raffle prize. So I got the Arachne playmat, the solitary confinement playmat, which is awesome.
Nice.
And so, I mean, end of the day, drafting with friends, always a good time. Always fun. Don't care what I end up. Just like to talk about my games here, just to keep a digital version record so that maybe one day when I'm 60, I can be like, how did I do in that draft? Then I can pull up the podcast.
0% chance that happens, but okay. Why would you?
Me in the retirement home reliving our old Fab days.
Yeah, that would be a strange thing to do, I think, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. Well, Me in 60 years. Hi.
Yeah. Hello from the past.
But yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I really like what they've done with Outsiders. I think there's some really fun generics. I think the set is just built very well for draft. I'm definitely looking forward to continue drafting, which is after 3 drafts of Uprising, I was kind of like, okay, I still drafted, but I wasn't as excited about it, but I'm still very excited about drafting Outsiders.
Right on. Yeah, I mean, I'm taking my time with it. I did not go to the Saturday event. I just needed to get away from doing more social stuff because I had been over socialized recently, and that's going to continue for the next couple of weeks. So I gotta pace myself. But I had a lot of fun on Thursday. First game was really tough. Got my butt kicked. One of our best players, probably our best player by rank? Question mark. I don't know if that's true. Something close, if not our best, our second best. And he's up there. He's got PTIs and stuff. Yeah, he crushed me. I screwed up multiple things. My draft was good, but not as good as the last time. I didn't get as many attack reactions.
Right.
So
yeah,
with Arachne, if you don't have those, you kind of don't have the heat to get it over the top. You have to play very cautiously for it to work. But yeah, so the first one I lost, second one was against you, and I did end up pulling the win. I think it was a error on your part, question mark, because there was still more to do there. It wouldn't have been over at that point, but who knows? And then the last one, like I said, it was a misplayed. I played backstab, which you're not allowed to play reactions to, and I died to 2 traps off of Riptide, which I really enjoyed that death. I thought that was awesome. I was like, that's cool. I kind of want to learn Riptide in draft because that's a fun thing, and he's probably not going to be drafted that often because people will go Azalea instead.
Yeah.
So you need a couple big stack arrows, right? Maybe a few go again things like your
Ravenous Rabble the legendary specializations will get passed around.
Maybe, yeah. But regardless, the traps tend to get passed around because people don't play trappy, trap heavy.
I had a couple good traps go off as Arachne.
Oh, that's good. That's good. But people tend to not care as much about them.
Yeah, they were picked later in the packs.
Yeah, he does. So if you pull all those, you pull a lot of defense, play very defensive, kind of fatiguey, and then you kill them with traps. That's fun. I really like that idea. I'm going to try to get that next draft. In my first game where I got my butt kicked, I did learn something else. I had a freewheeling Renegades come at me, which is that one that costs 1, gets you 6, defends for 2, which is the main reason I don't like it.
Yeah.
If this is defended by an action card, this has -2 attack. It looks on surface like, why would you want that? That's terrible. And I asked him, I was like, explain this to me after the fact. And again, he's one of those globally ranked players. And he's like, well, this is the way I look at it. It's a 1 for 6 that basically pulls a card because they're going to block. They're going to block and you'll still leak damage most of the time. And it's like, okay, that makes sense. But I still don't like a 1 for 6 that defends 2 personally. But he was also playing Uzuri, which makes it even better because you can sneak it in and then they can't do anything about it because they already didn't defend. Yeah, so in her, I can see it. It's definitely good.
It doesn't matter if it costs 1 or 2 then in that situation.
Fair point. Yeah, that's actually, it's a 0 for 6 basically. Yeah, good point. So yeah, he played it naked. He didn't play it with her ability, but I was just like, why would you have that card? Because it just doesn't feel that good. But when in context of taking a card from hand, I get it. I don't really agree in draft personally. Obviously, as Uzuri sneaking it in, definitely it's a card made for her. It makes sense for her. But playing it straight into something like Arachne, whose setup is entirely made to defend 6 every turn guarantee, that's just what he does. It doesn't make much sense to me because he's gonna defend it. Maybe leak 1, maybe leak 2, depending on what color it is, and then come back with a 3-card hand. I guess if you have some sort of go again, like a Ravenous or something first, then it's really nice.
Sure.
But yeah, that's a lot of ifs and grabbing hot stuff to make that make sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But with
there's a
her
lot of
sneak,
ifs in draft.
yeah, her sneak ability definitely makes it worth it for her. I just don't know that I would ever take it for anyone else.
Yeah, that's fair. I haven't taken it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways, thought that was interesting. Learned a little bit there.
Yeah.
And then apparently you cannot play reactions to backstab, which I also didn't realize. Even though it's funny too. When I played it, I was like, "You won't be playing any traps on me this turn." And then he's like, "Okay, no defense," and I was like, "Great." And I had a reaction, so I played it, and I think it was lethal technically.
Yeah.
And oh shoot, I did win that game. I did win that game because he did pass on blocks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I guess he probably wouldn't have passed on blocks if he had realized he couldn't play it. Whatever it was. Right. Anyways, he passed on blocks. I was coming in for lethal. He had 4. I had 1. I had 2. And he had another card in hand, a couple 2 cards in hand that he could have blocked with. I think 2 blocks or 3 blocks, something like that. So he could have stayed alive if he decided to block at that point. But because he passed on blocks and then played reactions, thinking he'd kill me with the traps, which he would. Because he had 2 of the I care about go again traps.
Right.
And so because of Arachne, your stealth are automatically go again attacks. Your daggers are go again attacks. That is an absolutely lethal into Arachne set of traps. Because Arachne doesn't have the choice. It's go again. It's by default. So so it's a very useful one against him. And so he played 2 of them on top of each other, which would trigger and kill me, except he wasn't allowed to play it. So he does owe me $9 because he passed on blocks. So there. Yeah. Interesting. That's so funny. I just love dying that way. I thought that was most fun ever.
Mm-hmm.
I was really enjoying that. I like the idea of Riptide. So definitely going to play Riptide.
Yeah. It's certainly interesting.
Yeah. The free load is sweet too.
Yeah, I got to play that in the first sealed and thoroughly enjoyed it. It just makes Ranger that much more bearable.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have a hard time with Ranger. I have had fun with Ranger, but the Wisps feel real bad in Ranger.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to work my way up to it. I really wanted to draft Ranger this time, but I just didn't see the heat I was hoping for in that first pack.
Mm-hmm.
And I did see quite a few nice things in Assassin. So I was like, it's really hard to just pass these up when I know what I'm doing with this, and I don't know what I'm doing with Ranger. But I will draft Rip or Azalea is really what I was going for, but I'm just not confident in Ranger yet.
Yeah, that's fair. Anything else you want to talk about on draft?
Not for that draft. Did you have anything else you want to chat about for the other draft?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I did get in one of the games I faced Missouri, and they had a sneak attack come in turn 1, which wasn't fun.
That's pretty awesome. I mean, turn 1's like the best time to have it happen.
Yeah.
Because it's not lethal.
Right. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But it's not great. It's definitely not great.
They had 2 red sneak attacks in that deck.
Ooh, that is brutal. That is actually really a good deck.
But that is the game I ended up winning. And I won with a Blood Rot Pox token when they didn't have any cards in hand.
Ouch.
And ended that turn by giving them... They had to use their whole hand to block, and I ended up giving 1 of each of the tokens. Oof. Inertia, Frailty, and Blood Rot.
Brutal. How did you do that?
It was Spike of Frailty, Sedate, the one that gives one of the stealth cards that gives. He didn't block the first one, so the stealth card gave 1, and then a reaction gave another. And I'm trying to remember how the Blood Rot. Oh, and then the second stealth attack
was Infect.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I had attack reactions for both to get over the top because he.
That was sick.
It was sick. I had a 5-card hand, but yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
It was fun.
Yeah. Arachne's fun. I enjoy drafting Arachne. Very easy, very baseline, very just zero cost go again, simple things. So people will learn to play against it very easily.
Yeah, so if you're new to the game and you're looking to get in some draft, which can be very intimidating when you're new to a game, just force Arachne. Grab some stealth cards, grab some attack reactions. You'll do okay.
That's it. Yeah, that's all you really need. Stealth and attack reactions. Aim for red as much as you can, but if you get blues and stuff, you can make those work. Yellows are ideal over blues because they pay for your daggers.
Yep.
Do everything else. And your game plan is to block with 2 cards every turn and swing with 2 others. And then with the exception of I have a reaction, so I'll take a hit to put something in arsenal to give myself a big turn.
Yep.
Things like that. Yeah.
Come to fights are huge. Red come to fights. They block 3 as well.
Actually, I'm okay with the yellow too, because it pays for the dagger too, So, and get you over the top with those 3 attacks coming in for 5,
Yeah. I don't know. I really I think one of the big differences with Outsiders is the generics really just are very cross-class enabled. So
they did a good job.
It doesn't feel bad when you end up with a couple generics, or you take a couple generics early to stay open. So
piles aren't terrible. They're not ideal, but they're not terrible in this set, it seems.
Yeah.
Make it work. Absolutely. So I will say I was very pleased. I think it was pack 1. Yeah, I pulled the cold foil scale peeler.
Nice.
So that was a great, I felt like I already won before we even started. Because I was like, that's a nice card. It's kind of pricey, that's a nice pull right there. So I basically won my night with just that,
Yeah, the cold foils in Outsiders are holding up.
Oh my god. It is ridiculous.
I'm transition. You like that?
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Especially when you called it out.
Absolutely. You gotta call out the good transitions. They don't happen often for me.
It was good. But yeah, the cold foils are seriously holding up in this set. I don't know how long that will last because, like you've said in the past, everyone's going to be drafting these, right? Expect it to come down eventually, but the big question is when, and the way people are buying stuff up. Collectors are here. Oh, did you see the news? Fab TCG article. Yeah. James White, Collectors Week coming up this week. I'm hyped.
Yeah, that's something we should talk about.
I love it. I love that they're doing it. It's always been part of the game. It's always been part of the ethos. They've said it from day one. And so I'm glad that they're showing some love for it. I get why they got quiet on it for a while because there's definitely some hurt feelings over Monarch and all the rest, but it's definitely back. You look at the market, you look at the way people are interacting with the set, with all the old just rainbow foils even. It is here, it is back. The collectors are here and everyone's having a good time as far as I can tell. It seems like it to me at least.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So, what are you noticing about cold foils? You're the one who brought it up.
Well, do we want to talk about this announcement and what they're telling us? Because we're getting a bunch of different things. We're getting 5 high-grade articles. 1 is the gold standard, so we'll know the complete gold foil inventory, circulation, and drop rates, which I think is pretty cool. The drop rates, finding that out.
Yeah.
Could see some fluctuation. I am not in the gold foil
me neither.
market, so
I've looked more than once, and I just... much as I want one on my shelf, I can't really justify.
No, it does not. But I am curious on the drop rates, is what I want to know. Collect what you love. So Saint from Fabled Hunters and Ben Keel share their story on why they collect, what they love about Fab. So that'll be cool to see. The Ultimate Flex, we learn how to build and play the rarest, most expensive hero in the game and push the limits on how far you can bling out a deck. So that's going to be the Rudy?
Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah,
because your whole deck has to be a 10 or a graded
10. Yeah.
No, it doesn't have to be a 10. It has to be graded.
Does. No,
I thought it had to be graded.
I think it has to be graded at a 10.
All right, let's look it up.
I'm pretty sure. I have it right here. It reaches to his shelf.
Nope, you may only have PSA graded cards in your deck. Doesn't care what grade they are. The reason I thought that is because I think it's the visor that allows you to increase the PSA grading of your card.
Pump it, Timmy.
Right? Yeah, exactly. So it's like it just automatically becomes a higher grade. But that's important for his ability, which is once per turn, pay 1, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's graded Gem 10, put it into your hand. Otherwise, each opponent may draw a card. So your 9s now become hand cards with the visor if he's wearing the visor. It's hilarious.
And then from Matt Rogers, we get That's Gotta Be a 10. So Matt Rogers from PCG shares insights about the benefits of grading fab cards, things to look out for with your collection, and showcasing some of the rarest PCG fab grades ever produced. Now, I'm not that into graded cards. I don't own any, don't plan on buying any. I don't know. It's cool. I get it, but I don't know.
Oh, I'm into it. I mean, I have graded Magic. I don't have anything graded in Fab yet because I kind of want to wait that one out a bit. I may grade some of mine at some point because I definitely have a fancy stuff binder. And some of them are really good quality. I have a decent eye to determine, what grade the thing is just by looking at it. So if I see something that looks like it may be a 10, I'll probably send it in. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's still early days for grading. I'm not too worried about it. And it's been such a rocky thing to do over COVID. It wasn't really worth it.
Who do you grade with?
PSA.
Well, there's PCG, but
yeah, PCG is one of the newer ones, I believe. I mean, they're long in the tooth on other things, but new to cards, from my understanding. But PSA is the gold standard of cards, with BGS being the other one, and you can have them face off and fight depending on who you're talking to.
Yeah.
And I think it's really game to game. I like BGS in my Magic because that's what I see the most of, and I know people swear by PSA, so it is what it is.
But then the exciting thing, we got a print run update. So publication and additional print run data for a number of sets.
Yeah, I'm betting that's all our unlimiteds for the first 3. I'm guessing it's everything that's safe to talk about because everything's rising.
Yeah.
So they can't really hurt the market that much because it's gone now.
Right. Right.
That's what I'm guessing, because we're seeing these prices spike across the board on a lot of different things. And the boxes and the cases and whatever, the sealed products.
Just ahead of this announcement.
Yeah, exactly. So I think they finally looked at the market and said, okay, it's probably safe for us to talk about how much we overprinted this shit. And I don't think they'll frame it like that, but I'm assuming that it was overprinted, and that's why they avoided talking about it for so long, Yeah, it all started to stop. It stopped being transparent around Mon.
Yes.
That's when it got quiet. Yeah. And that's because it was overprinted, and we know that was overprinted.
So is 125,000 overprinting?
It was for the time, yeah.
For the time, yeah.
And honestly, you can tell
how it was sold when it came out.
I was going to say you can tell it still is because of the way Tales of Aria is going, which had even more.
Right.
So
do you think we'll get sales numbers?
A cornerstone, top meta piece of legendary cold foil equipment. How much does that go for right now?
Still cheap. You tell me.
It's very cheap.
Under 200?
It's very cheap. The regular is like under 60.
Yeah, I believe that.
And remember, rainbow foils and cold foils were not done like they are now, right?
Well, then it would be unlimited, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what I mean. Like, I think rainbow foil L's are more limited than the unlimited versions of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's sad how low those are. So anyways, that is what happens when you have bad information from your distributors, is what it sounded like happened. So I'm glad they're coming out with this.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to this information. I'm glad they're supporting the freaking collectors out there. Yeah, 55 for the rainbow foil. God.
Do you think this will have... Okay, so do you think that there's going to be any fluctuation? Tell me the future. Is there going to be fluctuation if it goes? What do you think is going to happen if the numbers are higher than people expect? And what do you think is going to happen if the numbers are lower than people expect?
I don't think anything's going to happen because the market's already decided.
Yeah.
So I think unless it's
already
like
pricing in.
Exactly. Unless they are like, we printed 2 million boxes of Tails of Aria. You know what I mean? Unlimited. If they say something crazy like that, then yeah, of course that will affect the market. But generally speaking, the reason prices are rising is because it's gone. It just doesn't exist anywhere. It's gone. And so it doesn't really matter what they printed it to because the market already ate it. Yeah, it's gone. Yeah. So you can't really adjust the market when that's the reality. Now, if they give us print run numbers on, God, I don't even know. It'd have to be Tails and Everfest would be the only things that could maybe shock the market still, because that hasn't been absorbed yet. And like I said, my suspicion is that they will do the first 3 sets, maybe Monarch, maybe.
For Unlimited.
Yeah, for Unlimited, yeah. That's what I suspect. By the way, Crown of Seeds, cold foil, $71.
Holy crap.
It's a top meta legendary. It's a required card for top meta.
I might pick that up.
That's crazy. That's how many there are on the market. That's it. It was overprinted by a lot. And it's sad because Tails is such a gorgeous set. At least everyone can have a piece of beauty.
I'm so nostalgic. I am and will be nostalgic for it.
Ironically, New Horizon is very expensive.
Yeah.
And it's not even meta as far as I know. I guess it's in Lexi decks.
Yeah.
But it's not like Oldhim is. I don't know. Maybe Lexi is.
Maybe it's a sideboard for the other Rangers?
Maybe? Question mark? I don't know. It's been expensive the whole time. I think it's the waifu tax. That's people have said it before. I'm just repeating.
On New Horizon?
Yeah. Okay. It's a woman.
It is.
It's a badass elven woman. I'm assuming it's an elf. She looks like an elf.
Possibly.
Don't people love that stuff?
Yeah. But I mean, I think Flesh and Blood is a player's market.
Yeah, but do you think there are more Crown of Seeds playing Oldhims or more Lexis?
More Lexis.
Well, the stats about who makes it to top 8 says you're wrong. Because Oldhim makes it to the top 8 a lot more than Lexi.
Scene.
Yeah.
There are more than just the competitive scene Fab players.
So you're saying in the general market, just not necessarily good, but enjoy playing Lexi. I see.
Yeah. I think there are more people, there are more Lexi enjoyers than Oldhim tryhards.
That's probably true, actually, now that I think about it, because Oldhim is like not the most fun to play.
Yeah. Also, people just also don't play Oldhim because he's not fun.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah, like we don't have an Oldhim player at our locals. We do occasionally.
Yeah, I was just saying, I think you have one that's in and out.
Yeah. Well, 2 that are in and out. One that plays the Hero of the Month and one that was on him for a long time, but hasn't been playing. So
Shock Charmers is actually way higher than I thought it was.
It's a waifu tax.
You think so?
It's a woman, isn't it?
It is, but that one's not. I don't know.
I just threw it back. But no.
I mean, I've never heard that about Shock Charmers. I have literally heard that about New Horizon from other people.
I think it's an art thing. It's just it is a gorgeous
card. Yeah, I actually have a couple
Shock Charmers
of these.
I spent an extra $20 to get in cold foil over rainbow foil.
Yeah, it's now over 100, which is crazy.
In cold foil?
Yeah. It wasn't that much for the longest time. It was like $30 or $40. It was like nothing.
Yeah.
I guess there's been a buyout on it or something. Maybe it brought it up. Yeah. Even a few weeks ago it was 65, 55. Sheesh. Not even 6 days ago it was 55. Okay.
It's so funny
These markets are insane.
They can just move so fast.
Yeah.
But then how fast do they get replenished is the question you don't
I was going to say, the problem with Tails is this has happened like 4 or 5 times. You can see it rose up and then it falls back down to $40, $50.
Yeah.
Because there's just so much Tails. Oh, poor Tails.
I don't know. I think that's indication of just new players entering the market.
Yeah.
They come in, they buy the cards.
For sure.
Then,
I think Shock Charmers is a fun little piece of tech too. Absolutely. When I first realized how it worked, I was in love. I was like, that's amazing. Yeah, it's so good.
Oh, it's great.
What else?
What else about what?
I don't know. What else was there to talk about with the collectible stuff or whatever?
Crew is joining Arc and WTR in the bye-bye.
Yeah, in the bye-bye. Yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is. Yeah, I went over that a little bit in the market update last week. The booster boxes on all 3 sets have gone haywire with first edition, and then of course Unlimited has been driving up for a while. Yeah, so we shall see how that plays out. Yeah. I am a little worried that we hit a point where people can't get cards from the first 3 sets.
There's history pack.
It doesn't give you all the cards.
Okay, so we talked about this, but not on the podcast.
Yeah, exactly why I brought the topic up.
Yeah. So what do you mean not all the cards?
History pack does not include all the cards.
It doesn't have the fables, but what else doesn't it have?
It doesn't have plenty of the cards. Have you looked at the list of what's in history packs? There's a lot of cards that aren't in there.
No, I haven't, because I am anti-white border.
Oh,
I do not own a single white border card.
History pack set is not every card from the 3 sets. That would be impossible.
Interesting. I thought
you didn't know that?
No, I just figured it was. That? I never was interested in it because I have all the cards.
I get you. Yes, it is not.
And history pack black label with the other languages is different.
So it is different, and I couldn't tell you what that is because I don't pay attention to the other languages. Although there's some gorgeous cards in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got to see some. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. But point being, it's not every card. It's key cards. It's stuff you would expect, right? But it's definitely not every card. It's like the same number of cards in there as a regular set. So call it like 1/3 of the cards from the 3 sets. You know what I mean?
It has all the class cards.
It doesn't have all the class cards. It definitely does not. It has class cards. It doesn't have every single one. And because of the cut of it.
Oh, you're right. It's missing Cranial Crush.
It's missing stuff that at some point people will want because of the ever-living status of this. You know how cards suddenly become a thing? Like, that will happen for a card that wasn't printed in HP1. It will. And with these products gone, what do you get? I mean, is that even a target for buyouts? No, with the first 3 products gone where you can actually get those. With those gone, does that make those non-HP printed products a target for collectors because they're rare? Because there isn't an HP version of it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's almost worth doing a diff on this and seeing what isn't in here that that is a usable card.
I think that could be true temporarily. I think if they have, there could be windows where some of those are higher priced if they become meta relevant. Mm-hmm. But I think LSS will probably keep an eye on that and then introduce them into history packs as needed.
Well, we know HP1 can be reprinted a bazillion times if they want. They won't do it forever, but it can be done, and they intend it to be done. This is not like a thing that's going to disappear, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what about the ability to actually get the cards to players? Like, they don't reprint rares as far as I know. Have you seen one reprinted yet? I don't think I have.
In history pack? Yeah.
No. In normal sets, because one solution is to put in the next set a card that's needed, right?
Yeah, Scarf for Scar is common.
Yeah, exactly. Scarf for Scar, Ravenous Rabble, all that stuff is. I don't think they're rares. I think they're all commons. So if there's no way to get rares that are not in history pack, now I haven't checked. Maybe history pack includes all the rares. I don't think it does, but maybe it does.
It has a lot of rares.
It does. So maybe it is set up that way. So point being, there's cards that aren't there. There's cards that they may not reprint. There's things that may end up being collectible just by sake of there's just no more of them out there. And there's the game's popularity rises,
Yeah.
So it's curious. It's very curious. I don't think we'll have that problem with HP2 because of how much of a print run Monarch, Tales, and Everfest had. Everfest being the weird one,
I think it's the super rares.
Oh, the super rares. Yeah, I forgot those first ones had super rares. Yeah.
But I mean, you can get unlimited near mint cranial crush for $2.45, $3. So it's not, and there is.
It is until there's a buyout that buys them up to $20. You know what I mean?
Sure, but you're buying a lot.
That's my concern. That's the concern, though. People are already starting to target super rares and rares for the collectible stuff. Before long, those will be too expensive, the rainbow foils, and people will target the regulars.
Yeah, but by that time, is there a history pack that it comes out?
Okay. Do you know how history packs work? History Pack 2 is only going to cover Monarch, Tales, and Everfest. So anything that's WTR, Arc, or Crew will not be in History Pack 2. So where will that happen?
What if LSS comes out with like Modern Horizons of history packs?
That's fair. There could be. Okay, I see what you're saying.
You just have another line.
Like that is possible and reasonable. Yeah,
because that's how Magic keeps it in check.
It is. Yeah, they could do that. They could call it like
give him new art treatment.
You could even call it a master set or something like that. You could call it something like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's a fair point. And it'd be basically the rares and super rares and stuff reprinted.
Yeah.
Across like 5 or 6 sets, because it's, if you do that many, then it's a full set of stuff. That would actually be kind of interesting. I like that idea. And then special arts and stuff.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, there's a bunch that weren't reprinted in History Pack. I'm just skimming through the card list now.
Yeah, it's interesting. I didn't realize that at all. I just
and
History Pack is something that
there may even be History Pack 1.1, where it's again WTR, Arc, and Crew, but different cards, a different. There's nothing saying they can't do that. In fact, they've pretty much left it open that they can do stuff like that,
as they should. Yeah,
Agree.
Yeah, this game is too young to tell people it's too expensive.
Well, agreed. People should be able to get the cards, and because it's an ever-living format or evergreen format, whatever you want to call it, those cards will become useful probably at some point. Yeah, something will happen. Some card will interact with it, and then it's like, well, we can't get them. That's what I was worried about, because that will definitely upset people.
I mean, I think we're a long ways off until it reaches because the only real cards that are a problem like that are like Command and Conquer, E-Strike, Art of War. Anything else? Any other staples that are expensive?
In the rare and super rare slot? No, I think it's still reasonable for now. There's probably a few out there.
No, I'm even thinking Majestic.
In the Majestic spot?
Yeah, so I just listed all Majestics.
I don't know. What do you consider accessible? I think people get a little upset when they're paying more than $5 a card.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking over $30 a card.
Well, I don't know. What's Ancestral Empowerment go for these days?
Ancestral Empowerment?
And that's not even like meta. It's just, it's a $6 card. Yeah, and that is in History Pack, so that was reprinted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're probably okay for now. But the way these markets are buying everything up, I just put it this way. Every week, I'm shocked at how much something went up. Every week, there's something new. I'm like, holy crap, this tripled in price overnight.
Well, and that's the other aspect of this is that, yes, it's a young game, but there aren't as many sellers. There aren't as many people. Like, if you look on TCG Player, how many sellers are there really selling Flesh and Blood?
It's a good question. And then I actually, as a funny anecdote to that, anecdote. I think that's the right word.
Yeah.
Antidote. Yeah. Antidote is for poison. Anecdote, right?
Sure.
It's a story. So I was buying cards through Discord, and I'm talking with this guy, and he said something. I can't remember what he said. Something about, oh yeah, I have a shop, and I know what it was. We were doing price checks on things, and I was like, oh yeah, lowest on TCG Player is this. He's like, oh, that's me, by the way. I was like, oh, really? And I looked at it, and it was a name I recognized. I was like, I think I've bought from you before because, I buy a lot of cards.
Yeah.
And he's like, really? What'd you get? And I looked at my history. I was like, this, and this. Over the past few months, I bought 5 or 10 things from you. And he's like, oh, well, nice to meet you. Thanks for, shopping with me and all that stuff.
Very
and he's like, now you know who I am. So next time you see something, come directly to me and we can avoid the fees. And I was like, that's fantastic. I will absolutely do that because I know I trust the guy. I mean, I bought a dozen times from him, both off market and through TCG Player. So it's like, it's great. And as a point, it is a relatively small community of buyers and sellers of any level of depth. And anyone who is a big seller, a lot of people know them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it is that small of a community. So you're right. There's still time for it to develop. I do worry about the day when people come in and can't get the cards they need. I'm glad so far everyone's being really freaking ethical and chasing only rainbow foils and stuff, but eventually that will dry up.
But it'll dry up because new players are joining the game.
Or it will because whales can spend $10,000 a month on it.
Yeah, well, they shouldn't.
I think they're fine doing it on rainbow foils. I just worry that someday they'll start fighting each other for the scraps, and you know what I mean. It gets risky. We shall see. We'll find out what those print runs are. How many of those cards are there out there?
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah,
I was hyped when I saw that article. I was super hyped. I'm glad they decided to openly be supportive of collectors again, and.
Yeah, they should. They should be proud of it. They created an incredible game with incredible art pieces, and
they were proud of it. And then there was a period where I think they changed.
I think they were always proud of it.
They changed one of their taglines. It used to say something like bringing together collectors and players or something like that. It used to call out collectors specifically, and then they got rid of that part for a while. And maybe still is gone. And everyone that was in the collecting space was like, wait, why'd they get rid of the collector's part? Like, what happened? So, I don't know. I'm glad it's being recognized again. It's an exciting time as a collector. I am very much into it and very excited to see everything that happens with this game when new stuff hits and it holds up, when these rainbow foils disappear. I personally think it's awesome. I know it's a lot of people don't, but I do. And it's fun. I like it. I like collecting it. I buy a lot of cards.
Speaking of collecting, I might be picking up some extra cases of Outsiders to store because I plan on drafting this a bunch.
Nice.
Like, just not like to resell or anything, just so that I can draft it later because I'm thoroughly enjoying the draft.
Yeah. Do it.
But, because I keep a case of every set. But with this, I will probably keep a couple extra so that we can draft in the future.
Well, it is currently under map again.
Cool.
At 326 on TCG Play.
Cool.
With only 99-cent shipping. So that is way below map. Yeah.
Interesting. Anything else you wanted to chat about?
No. I think that covers it.
I can talk about some other games I played. I played more Dice Throne last night, which was fun.
You played Dice Throne last night?
We played Dice Throne and we played Sleeping Gods.
How was that?
Very complex. So it is a tabletop open world role-playing game where you cooperatively set a crew to go on an adventure to get to your dying father, but then get sucked into another world where then you have to help someone gather a bunch of totems to summon the sleeping gods, and then they will get you back to your plane of existence.
Oh, yeah, nice. Yeah, I'm flipping through the pictures of it now.
And
that does look fun.
Yeah, so we have a friend who is very into board games and loves to teach us these kind of games, and I thoroughly enjoy it. But this one, it was
Couldn't
fun.
handle it.
It was fun, but it's one of those things where you play it over many, many, many sit-downs.
Yeah, it's a legacy game.
Legacy, yeah. And we decided we did the tutorial that went well, and then we decided to go after our quest, and we ended up facing level 11 rats right away. And we got through the fight, but it was rough. And then we switched to Dice Throne after having dinner. So we played that, went through the big first fight.
Going back? No going back?
Yes, I would go back now that I understand. I would restart because we made choices and Tommy was allowed to make the decision, and the decision was to move forward. And everyone followed Tommy, and the rule of playing games with Tommy is don't follow Tommy.
Don't follow Tommy, yeah. Why would they let you decide?
I mean, they agreed with me.
I get it. I'm just saying, that seems like a bad plan.
It was a group decision. It was my idea, but it was a group decision, and that's what we did.
This looks interesting.
Yeah, it was fun. It was interesting. I would definitely play it again. And you get to... There's a bunch of lore and stuff that you read in between different events and stuff, and you make decisions.
Yeah, he was talking about that. He's like, it's kind of like a book.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah, so I got to do a bunch of funny accents and stuff, and it was
fun. Oh, that's fun. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Well, it's a complexity rating of 3.21 on Board Game Geek, so not even halfway to most complex games.
I can see that, but there are a lot of moving pieces. Yeah, and I think it would take a while to understand what all the moving pieces are. But once, like after the 2 rounds we did, I had an understanding of it.
Yeah, that's how most of them are. It's like a bit of a steep learning curve, and then it kind of settles in, and you're like, okay, this makes sense.
Yeah, that's
cool. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it, like a fun game.
Yeah, and Dice Throne is just fun. And we
introduced. Who did you play?
I played Black Widow. Jillian played Scarlet Witch. Our one buddy played Black Panther. And then our local Kano player played Doctor Strange.
Nice.
And had a blast.
I bet he did. We are like, the same ilk. Wait, you can be a wizard?
Yeah. Yep.
Exactly.
It was a lot of fun.
Good.
Jillian made delicious chicken lo mein with peanut butter sauce. It was so good.
Yeah, that was the one thing I was sad to miss. I'm glad that our friend showed up and made it a 4-player, because I was like, oh man, I don't want to socialize. It's like, I'll do it because I want to be out there and be supportive, and playing games with 4 people is good. And then you were like, oh yeah, someone else is coming, so that kind of makes the games hard because all of them were 4-player games. No, it does. You can't. Yes,
the first game we played absolutely could be played with like 9 people.
It is not made for 9 people. I bet you it would get like broken real fast.
No, it's like a drinking beer and talking kind of game. It'd be fine.
You're talking about Sleeping Gods?
Yeah.
It has mechanics, man. There's no way you can add people randomly to it.
Everyone controls 2 people. So you just have each person control a person.
Okay. Maybe, but I doubt it. Just because I've played enough board games to know. When you change the number that it recommends, it borks the heck out of the game almost every time. I could be wrong on this, but
because it's also just like a universal group discussion, so everyone's just kind of joining in on the discussion.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, either way, I was glad that there was a good excuse to not show up because I needed the downtime.
Exactly.
I played Stationeers.
Exactly.
Another friend of ours, and built an automated furnace, because programming in video games is how I enjoy my games.
That sounds terrible.
It was so fun. So it was good.
Yeah.
What an excellent podcast, Tommy.
It's been an excellent podcast.
Happy Easter to people out there who celebrate it.
Absolutely. I hope you got your Easter baskets. We ate an entire bowl of jelly beans last night, which was an entire bag of jelly beans. It was
also a very good thing to miss for me.
Yeah, it was delicious. It was correctly eaten. All the licorice ones were left at the end. It was pretty funny. But yeah, had a good week. I am gone next weekend. So we will have to... Well, podcast should just be a little later in the evening like it is this week. But... And then everything else should be normal for the week, video-wise. Gonna miss Thursday Flesh and Blood Armory. but going to go Tuesday. If you are in the Philly local area and are listening to this podcast and don't know how to play Flesh and Blood, which no one, we're hosting this little local like learn to play event, which is super cool. And so I might just go hang out there on Tuesday to get my weekly Flesh and Blood fix.
Cool.
Should be fun. Redcap's Corner in Philly. Tuesday at, what is it, 6:30?
I have no idea.
One of those two. Around there. Cool. So, I think that does it. If you want to support the podcast, there are multiple ways to do so. You can click the TCG Player link down in the description below and buy something from us, or you can head over to the link also in the description for our Patreon, where you can join the Discord and have conversations with us about the things we talk about whenever you want.
Yep.
We're in there constantly talking about Flesh and Blood, other games.
All the time.
All the time.
All the time. Loving it.
People. A lot of fun.
And if you made it this far, drop Tommy your best, most terrible daddy jokiest. Dad jokiest. Yeah, I don't know how to say it. Dad jokiest. Say
daddy joke.
Yeah, that didn't sound right. Yeah, dad jokiest egg pun, because he loves that shit.
I love puns.
Yeah, and he'll enjoy it, and I'll probably chuckle too.
I mean, I could tell you a paper joke.
No, we're done.
Yeah, I won't.
Stop here. Stop now. Don't hurt us.
It's terrible, anyways.
Oh God.
Until next week, we will catch you guys later.
Have a good one.